You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions and your phone calls. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio. You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports.
Armchair.
TGIF on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Justin Waller and Mac McGee are back at it 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern every Friday evening right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel and your local CBS Sports affiliates. We're talking the NFL, Major League Baseball, and Southern football, so grab you a cold one. It's finally Friday on the Armchair Quarterbacks, 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern. Waller and McGee getting you ready for your sports weekend. The Armchair Quarterbacks are covering America's pastime from spring training all the way to the Fall Classic.
5-2 Dodgers in the ninth. They've done it. Like the 1969 Mets, it's the impossible dream revisited.
And Myers bringing it. And the pitch is hit in the air. Foul off first. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0.
Left field, way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions. Let's go, Carter. Hits a 3-run home run in the ninth inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Armchair.
Hey, baseball fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel is going to bring you the baseball game of the week on Thursday nights. Tones Areola and Mac McGee bringing you the action, the biggest game of the week in all of Major League Baseball. That's Thursday nights, this baseball season, the MLB game of the week, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Armchair Quarterback Radio. We cover the world of baseball from start to finish.
Baerga is 0 for 3. Left center field. Grissom on the run. The team of the 90s has its world championship. A liner off Navy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
Brocious, fittingly with a throw, and the Yankees have done it again. Number 24. They are the world champions of baseball in 1998. Chance of a lifetime for Luis Gonzalez. 2-2, bottom of the ninth, game 7 of the World Series. Bases loaded. Florida, center field. The Diamondbacks are world champion. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. In the air to left, well hit. Back is Craig. What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Thirsty Thursdays, it's the Armchair Quarterback Show. Joey and Tones Areola, Mac McGee, and the rest of the guys dropping by talking baseball, football, and everything in between. Catch the Armchair Quarterbacks on Thirsty Thursdays, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central.
This relief pitcher won the Cy Young Award after pitching over 200 innings out of the bullpen. Mike Marshall began his career as a starter and pitched with the Tigers, Seattle Pilots, Astros, and Expos before landing with the Dodgers in 1974. That year, Marshall pitched in a Major League Baseball record 106 games, finishing a staggering 83 of those. That meant it was more likely that Marshall would finish a Dodgers game than anyone else on that team. He also set a Major League record for consecutive games pitched in with 13. He threw a mind-boggling 208 1/3 innings out of the bullpen that year, never making a start for the Dodgers. He was effective as he pitched to a 2.42 ERA that year. His efforts were rewarded as he was the first relief pitcher ever to win the Cy Young Award. 5 years later, while pitching for the Minnesota Twins, Marshall set the American League record for most games pitched in with 90, finishing 5th that year in the Cy Young voting.
Armchair Quarterback Radio, the gunslingers of sports talk.
And here's second-year quarterback Brett Favre out of Southern Mississippi by way of the Atlanta Falcons. They are hopeful he can succeed in the NFL. Here, Brett Favre, this one. So with their best receiver out of the game, from the 35, 19 seconds left. Ball pumps, throws, touchdown! Is there a spark of life in Green Bay? Touchdown!
Yes! Danny Marino!
Here's Marino, wide open field, throws for a touchdown. It is number 37 on the season, breaks the all-time NFL record. Going deep and open. Touchdown, Mark Duper. Duper has returned, and he is super.
They are going to bring pressure again. Rodgers is going to roll away, throws it up in the air, says a prayer, and Janis does not stop it. Oh, please.
Hey Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves country baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. TGIF on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Justin Waller and Mac McGee are back at it 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern every Friday evening right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel and your local CBS Sports affiliates. We're talking the NFL, Major League Baseball, Southern football, so grab you a cold one. It's finally Friday on the Armchair Quarterbacks, 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern. Waller and McGee getting you ready for your sports weekend.
What is a random baby name that you 100% will be naming your kid no matter what your spouse says?
I'm going to name him Wussel, so people think he has a speech impediment.
Y'all, I'm pretty excited. First baseball tournament of the year, and I struck out 12 today.
Dad, it's coach pitch.
Still struck out 12.
Thirsty Thursdays, it's the Armchair Quarterback Show. Joey and Tones Ariola, Mac McGee, and the rest of the guys dropping by, talking baseball, football, and everything in between. Catch the Armchair Quarterbacks on Thirsty Thursdays, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central.
Know who my father is?
Why? Mother didn't tell you?
Listen, you need to go down there to that school and get your daughter right now. I had to leave. They laughed me out of the stands at the track meet. You're 6'2", I'm 6'5". What happened to? We're going to make athletes, D1.
I remember him, he was cursing under his breath. And I asked him, I said, Larry, what's going on with you? He says, you guys are being disrespectful to me. And I says, what are you talking about? He says, you guys are putting a white guy on me. That's disrespectful.
Wait, who's the white guy you put on him?
I can't remember who it was. And I'm sitting there like, I'm laughing in the middle of a game.
Armchair.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
CBS Sports Radio Station. The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station? It's everything.
I like everything.
Do you know what listeners like about our station? It's everything.
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, the Armchair Quarterback Show. Your first choice for Southern Sports Talk. Good afternoon, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good afternoon. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Kentucky fans are still salty, and it's awesome. I love March Madness.
Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Calipari said his team lost because they did not have NCAA tournament experience. John, St. Peter's has never been to the NCAA tournament. Ever. Forever.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, and top of the evening to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Justin Waller. Justin, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Mac. In between some storms, so hopefully I don't disappear. But aside from that, glad to be back. Glad to be in the heat of March Madness, and we had baseball, sir. We were unsure whether we would or not, and we will have a full season. So I'm good. You're on mute, my brother. I can't hear, nor can anyone else hear a word you were saying. You got to hit the unmute button.
Okay, I thought I had hit the unmute button. Evidently, I might need to change up my my mouse. I'm starting to see it like not click when it's supposed to click. We are in baseball season. Is that better?
That is a lot better, sir.
Okay. And we are about to talk about what we don't really want to talk about, but we got to talk about it because this is a sports talk show and we are Braves fans. Is this jackass right here signing with the LA Dodgers? And you realize we bought this thing like a month or two ago. And well, actually it arrived about a month ago. I think we actually put in the order back in September. Okay. And it finally showed up. It was during the lockout. And I remember going, I don't even know if this guy's going to be on our team anymore. I really wish I hadn't ordered this thing. And so now I've got Freddie Freeman over here. I mean, I'll hold on to it. It'll still remind me of the championship. But right now it's raw. It's raw emotions. And I'm still disappointed about the entire thing. He had his press conference today. And, of course, all the Dodger fans are excited and welcoming him aboard. And I get it, especially when you're a Dodger fan. And you live a charmed life. You live an easy life as a baseball fan because you get the Freddie Freemans, you get the Clayton Kershaws, you get everything that you essentially want. Your team's going to break the bank, right? Braves fans, we know that we're in a different situation, but I want to get your take on this, on the whole Freddie Freeman. He left to go to they really have turned into a rival. What say you?
Kind of like you. I'm still emotional about it. I don't understand it. I think it's it's just dumb on both parts. There we go. I'll just say it. It is what it is. I mean, it was 162. He accepted out in LA. He really wanted the 6th year. And I believe his offer was 140, if I'm not mistaken, in Atlanta. Now, look, that's a lot of difference in between the 1 year. I get it. But are you also factoring in your taxes on that $162 million over that 6 years and your cost of living and everything else that is factored in it? So I blame Anthopoulos. I think this is one he let get away. There is not enough difference in that money with the DH coming into the league that you let Freddie walk over that small amount.
I don't know if it's Anthopoulos or if it's something coming from above him, but I do blame the Braves. I do blame the Braves.
Yes.
Here's an interesting fact that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. I don't think a lot of Braves fans are aware of. The Atlanta Braves are the only baseball team that has to answer to a board every single quarter. Okay. So they are literally ran like a business. They are not the New York Mets, where you've got Steve Cohen ready to go all in because he wants to see his boyhood team win the World Series. They are not the Dodgers. They are not the Yankees. They are ran by Liberty Media Group, and a portion of that Liberty Media Group is a division set off to the side that runs the Atlanta Braves, and it's a board, and they have a board meeting, and Anthopoulos has to answer this. So I guarantee you this plays into it. So the emotion, I don't think that board understands when you do what you did. I do believe you lose money in the long run, because the merchandise you could have continued to sell with Freddie Freeman. Now, I think they're thinking of, well, Freeman leaves, Olsen comes, everyone's going to go want to buy an Olsen jersey, right? And he's from Georgia and all that. But I'm talking about long-term merchandise. I'm talking about being able to sell the likeness of Freddie Freeman on a number of things when he ends up retiring in your uniform. The other interesting thing that I saw, a quote from Freddie Freeman today, is he said that since the season ended, throughout the entire lockout and post-lockout and pre-lockout, he received 2 phone calls from the Atlanta Braves. 2. The Dodgers were constantly calling and recruiting him. And I think that played the factor. Don't you? I mean, don't you think when it's all said and done, it's his hometown team, essentially. He was born and raised fairly close to Los Angeles. He does have a home there. And they wanted him, and I don't think he felt like that Atlanta wanted him. I don't think it would have taken much more to get Freddie to stay in Atlanta. But I think there comes a point where he's spurned because we didn't give him an offer last year. He won a championship with us. And he started feeling like, my God. So that to me is very telling, because if that is true, and I don't know if he's talking about him directly or how many conversations he had with his agent, right? But if that's true, Justin, and you're sitting around, you've gotten 2 phone calls, and then you wake up one morning and you see Matt Olson's been traded to the Atlanta Braves, and you've been waiting on Atlanta to reach out to you because you were the one being courted, right? That had to be a dagger to him. And it's hard.
So it's hard because as a fan, you want to leave the emotion of your team and your franchise player, someone that yes, you have Acuna, and I have not forgotten that he is on the roster. But Freddie Freeman has been the backbone of this team since Chipper left. I mean, the torch was passed to him, and this is not the way that we have ever really let our big cornerstone franchise players just walk out, just leave. We've had big names leave before. You've had the arms leave and the contracts. You can't stay, but never over this. And that's sad if that's true, that you only reached out twice to a player that has put that in there. I hope it's in some way, if there is truth behind it, it was, the distance and respect. But I think it's unfair to everybody that was negotiating into this market. The lockout was stupid. Didn't need to happen.
Yeah, and I don't know if things play out differently if there's no lockout, right? But
things that happen.
But all I know is, as a diehard Braves fan, this one hurt more than anyone that I can remember. I mean, I don't remember being hurt.
This hurt.
Because when Maddox and Glavine left, Glavine would probably be number 2. By the time Maddox left, he was done. And the Braves were done. They were rebuilding. And it really didn't make a lot of sense for them to bring him back. And I also felt like he was out there trying to chase down another ring. Because remember, he played for Chicago, he played for LA, and those teams were really good in the late 2000s. So when he left, Glavine one pissed me off. And I stayed pissed off at Glavine because he turned down the Braves. I don't remember the numbers. I used to be able to recite them by heart, but essentially he turned it down. He turned down the Braves over about $1 million. Of course, back then these these contracts weren't as enormous, but he turned it down. It was a little over $1 million. And I remember, because it wasn't a very long contract. And I remember thinking to myself, the money you could have made up with that, A, with taxes, but B, you had been at a Atlanta, Georgia icon. Why the hell are you not John Elway and own like car dealership after car dealership and restaurants, etc., all there in the area that basically would be tied to Atlanta? That one made me mad. This one, I am disappointed in the Braves. I'm not mad at Freddie, because when you hear that he only got reached out by 2 phone calls, now I can see us, well, did they really even want me?
To your point, is this an investment move? Was this just a business decision? And I know it's a business decision at the end of the day. They always are, but your franchise player, it's completely different, especially for your fan base. But let's get the elephant in the room, and let's really, since it's just Set It Free Friday, let's get to the real problem here. How come the Dodgers get to, and every other team that wants to just go and spend whatever they would like, pay the tax for the penalty for going over, but let's just really get to it and let's start making it hurt. And actually, let's keep the Cohens of the world from going out and just having an open checkbook. Or let's put the Atlanta Braves up for sale, and who can we all get GoFundMe? Can we get together and make our own group? I mean, let's get us a super fan that wants to come in. Atlanta wants nice things too. Why couldn't we have both? Why couldn't we have both?
I've been saying it for years. I'm waiting for a drunk billionaire to buy the Braves back, because we haven't had competitive spending since Ted Turner owned the Braves. And a lot of people don't realize he sold the Braves, I believe it was 1997, to AOL. Then AOL eventually sold it to Liberty. It's been like a quarter century. Like, I think a lot of Braves fans, they're older Braves fans, probably to this day, thinks that Ted Turner still owns the team. And Ted Turner wanted to win. And I may not like a lot of things Ted Turner's done in his lifetime, but that dude spent, right? And that dude went out and he brought in Maddox, right? He brought in, he would go out and make a trade for McGriff and make sure he gets re-signed. I'm with you on that. But you're not going to get a hard salary cap, because the players union in Major League Baseball is stronger than
I don't want one.
Right.
But you have to make it hurt. We've talked about draft.
I know, but this is all a part of the collective bargaining agreement. If there were a lot of owners that wanted it to hurt, and the players voted against it. So, I mean, that was the crux of the reason why it took as long as it did for them to get the agreement, was the CBT, and it's all based on that. Now, they did add a third level where if you go 20 million, I forget I don't know where it exactly hits this year, because it was a little confusing, but there's thresholds. And if you go 20 over the cap, 40 over the cap, and 60 over the cap, there are fines that go a little higher. And once you go 60 over the cap, it really hurts. But I mean, we're basically just where we're at. And I think that had a lot to do with Anthopoulos. Look, Anthopoulos is looking at it as, maybe I want to be the general manager, president for the Braves. Maybe I want to do this for the next 20 years. And maybe I don't want to have to go through another rebuild that we had to when I first got here. So maybe I go and I get a Matt Olson who gives me 8 years plus a club option. It's essentially a 9-year contract, because unless he just falls off the planet, they're going to pick up that 9th year, because it's like 20 or 21 million. And you're talking about a decade from now, a first baseman who hits like he does, that's going to be extremely club friendly, right?
Those not familiar with athletics, baseball, are in for a treat. Mr. Olson has some pop, also has a good glove too. So no, he's not Freddie, but
you threw me off, because you know what my mind was going when you said those who are not familiar with athletics baseball. I thought the Athletic had just put out some kind of report. You're about to read it to me.
No. The Oakland Athletics.
Right. No, I get it now. Yeah. I mean, look, if you look at his numbers, I had it pulled up the other day, and I was going to blind read it, but essentially, if you look at his numbers from last year and Freddie's numbers from the last year, you would think that Matt Olson was the better player. And he's 5 years younger. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. It's a big deal. It's a big deal that they got him, and I love it. I wish they could have gotten both, to be honest. I wish you could figure out a way to have Freddie either go back over to third. Well, no, and then we'll put Riley in the outfield. I don't know. But or have Freddie DH, but then you're stuck. What really hamstrung us was the signing of Ozuna, because that dude ain't going anywhere for 3 years. You can't trade him right now because he's damaged goods because of his running with the law. And
I hope you remember my reaction from that trade. I still feel the same way.
The signing?
I'm upset. Why can't we have nice things?
Well, the Ripper.
I want nice new toys.
The Ripper was that the signing, or is it something?
No, they let the ball go, and they re-signed Ozuna to the long contract.
What was the one that made us? I'm trying to remember. When was Castellanos signed by the Reds? We wanted him, and we ended up with someone else. Was that was the Ozuna signing, right? The original, like the 1 year deal. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
And now he's out on the free agent market again. It's sounding more and more like he's going to Philly. I hope Boston outbids him. But this is not going to be good. I do not want to see Castellanos in our division. I mean, the Phillies are already that team, Justin, I think of where, and I don't have a good comparison, but they're that team, whether you're football, baseball, basketball, whatever, that you're like, dude, why are they not better? Because they've got it all, right? And they're going to put it together one year, and we're going to be just going, oh, God, and they've got Castellanos. Maybe almost like to if for the football fans out there, the Washington Redskins of about 10 to 15 years ago, when they would have all these players, incredible talent. You're like, why aren't they any good? That's what it reminds me of. But we got to go ahead and switch gears. We're going to take a really quick break because there's something that I have to add and do, and I don't want to leave Justin hanging here for 2 minutes. So we're going to take a really quick break, a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to be talking NFL free agency, and we still got to talk March Madness and some belly up to the bar. We'll be right back.
Hey, what we always call on the game, PlayStation game, what we always call? Heads or tail on the PlayStation game. All right, then. You should have told him tail. I thought you told him. No, I told you. I thought you knew the special teams always coach. They don't play the PlayStation like us.
Don't miss a moment of heart-stopping NFL coverage on Armchair Quarterback Radio.
Riggins.
3rd and 3. We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. Only 12 seconds left to play third quarter. Here's Marcus Allen cutting back upfield, and Marcus Allen could be gone. 74 yards for Marcus Allen.
The quiet man of this football team, Scott Norwood. He can fire the shot heard round the world now. Here we go with 8 seconds to play. High drama here on the Super Bowl. But in the end, got the distance.
Armchair.
This helpful instructional message from the National Association of People Who Have Trouble Walking and Chewing Gum at the same time. Step, chew. Step, chew. Step, chew.
World air quality is at an all-time low.
But hey, that doesn't mean you can't have a little fun. New from Mattel, it's the greenhouse gas gun. Do you hate the snowman next door? Use the greenhouse gas gun. Want to piss off an entire room full of tree huggers? Use the greenhouse gas gun. There is simply no end to the amount of fun and respiratory disease you can have with the greenhouse gas gun.
Armchair.
We are the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
He only has 3 rings.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio's #1 sports station.
friendship means to me. Having so much crap on someone that they can't ever reveal the crap they have on you.
Hey there, pal. First draft?
How can you tell?
Look, there's a few things you're going to want to know. Kickers go fast. You're going to take one early. And don't worry about running backs. You can always trade for one later.
Cool, thanks.
And one more thing. It's good to have you here. You're my friend.
Armchair.
It all starts with just one thing. Glass jars can be reused to store food and spices, as a holder for combs and brushes in the bathroom, or as a container for plants and homemade candles, in addition to simply being recycled. Find tips and more at onethingus.com.
They don't play the PlayStation like us. They don't play it like... I thought you told him. That's why I said it. They don't play the PlayStation like us. They don't play it like us.
Are you listening?
Welcome back. We are back, and I believe we've got Justin. I think we keep losing him. I'm not really sure what's going on with his I don't think he paid his internet bill.
I paid my bill, but for some reason my camera isn't coming on, but I have my laptop.
All right. Well, we will
I'll figure it out.
I'll see if that helps at all, but it probably doesn't. Anyways, so we have Justin. It's not just me talking to myself, like, you know, I've been known to do. I talked to myself a lot after that Freddie Freeman trade. I talked to myself a lot last night, dude. I was up to the wee hours watching some March Madness, and then I ended up listening to some music. And I mean, I was just cussing the Braves. I'm like, how did you let this guy leave us? But anyways, we move on. The big news today in the National Football League is Deshaun Watson, and he is going to the Cleveland Browns. They're going to give up 3 number 1 draft picks. I haven't seen the whole kit and caboodle, but I did see that. And hey, Michael, hey, Brian, I see that y'all are on the cast. Thanks for checking in and saying hi. We don't know you're there if you don't chime in, so it is nice to see when people chime in. Justin, this just made the AFC North incredibly fun to watch. One of these kids is doing his own thing, because you've got Watson in Cleveland, Burrow in Cincinnati, Jackson in the Ravens, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers have Mitch Trubisky.
They'll stop that there.
They have high hopes. And I'll tell you one thing I'll say for Mitch Trubisky. He must have impressed the hell out of Daboll when he was backing up Allen in Buffalo, because Daboll kind of showed his hand and made the comment that he wanted to bring him to New York. And when he did that, I think he kind of showed his hand, and the Steelers got interested, and they offered him a for sure starting position. And maybe the Giants weren't ready to offer as much money as they did. I still think the Giants made a huge mistake, because I believe he signed, what was it, like 2 years, $14 million? In the world of the NFL quarterback, that's nothing, right? If he turns out to be as good as Daboll swears that he is, that could be a steal for the Steelers down the road. I'm not ready to buy that yet. I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to buy that yet, because I know the only thing I ever saw from Trubisky is what he did in college and what he did at Chicago, and it wasn't impressive. But this division just got incredibly interesting.
I will agree with that 100%. The Deshaun Watson is interesting, the move there, and where Cleveland goes with another rebuild. So I'm curious, and the Trubisky on top of the Daniel Jones is curious as well. You're coming off a project to another project. It's like you said, you better know what you're doing, or well, might better keep a suitcase packed.
Yeah, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Cleveland to win and win right away. The other problem you're going to have is there's most likely just by reading all the press releases from the National Football League over the situation, there's most likely coming around the corner a suspension. Now, how long of a suspension, who knows? And Cleveland felt like it was worth said suspension, right? But now, here's the really dumbfounding thing. Baker Mayfield wanted to be traded. Cleveland said they're not going to trade him. Surely to God that tune changes now, right? That they're willing to trade Mayfield and get back some draft picks that they lost.
Are you going where I think you're going to go with this?
I'm thinking Indianapolis.
Okay.
I mean, that's where I would. Now, here's the thing. If you're Cleveland, do you want to send Baker Mayfield to the AFC, or do you want to do the smart thing and send him to the NFC? If that's the case, they could do a swapsies with picks involved with the Atlanta Falcons, or maybe even Carolina.
Falcons and Carolina are the two that jumped out the most. I don't know if you go AFC. I'd like to see that the Titans would pony up an interesting enough package that's where I thought you may be going with that. That's where I wondered. I know you.
No, I don't.
To favor Baker.
No, because unfortunately, I think we're stuck with Tannehill because
you're not
it was like a $57 million dead cap hit if he gets traded. So you're absolutely hamstrung there. So I think you have to write it out. I think the Titans are going to try to draft somebody and have them learn behind Tannehill this year. I think that's the smartest route to go at this point. I was always banging on the table wanting them to trade. Once I saw all the numbers on the dead cap, I realized I want it to happen. And I would finagle the numbers if I was running my Madden team. But real talk, it's not going to happen. I would love to see Baker in Tennessee, but I don't see how they could get that accomplished.
I think there's an option unless you have someone that's viable wanting to come in and take Tannehill off of your hands. And I just don't.
No, because you would have to put a lot of
you put out there last year.
Well, to do that, you would have to bankrupt your draft picks essentially, because you would have to send a lot of picks to go get them, and then you'd have to send a lot of picks to get rid of Tannehill as well. So I just don't. Maybe there's some kind of creative way out there that they're working on that we don't see, but I ain't buying it. If you're a Titans fan, just realize it's another year of Tannehill, and we hope we get someone in the draft that we like and they can develop them. But we have not done well developing quarterbacks in the draft over the last 20 years. Every single one we get seems to be a bum.
Or they retire, stay injured, or get in fights with their coach, even though can't handle discipline. It's just been a mess. Yeah, absolute.
Or we catch them at the tail end of their career, Kerry Collins, right? It's just
hey, but don't forget clipboard Jesus.
Yeah, well, that right
there.
That
none of that would have been possible had it not been for all of those said mishaps. So,
I can tell you right now, there are many drafts that they did. I don't even remember the damn quarterback, but I remember cussing him in preseason and never hearing from him again. Like, I can't remember the names. I'm like, remember we drafted that one guy and he absolutely stunk, but we were told during preseason that they're grooming him to be the next guy. I don't even remember the guy's name, but there was a third guy on the bench with clipboard Jesus, and he was supposed to be the guy. And I want to say he came from a Florida college, like a smaller college, but I can't remember. Hey, there you are. They finally turned the lights on.
Yeah, well, buddy, this is just not working on the computer. I apologize. So I had to go back to apologize to.
Understood. It happens. Especially when we take a break like this, all the updates and everything, I'd notice it every single time. Like, we come back and I'm not prepared. Like last night, I had a hell of a time because I was running around going, oh God, I forgot to turn this on. I forgot to do that. And it was just, not last night, but the night before. By the way, I had a blast yesterday doing the play-by-play high school game at the Jumbo Shrimp Stadium. That was really cool. And what was really cool about it is I expected we were going to get there and it was going to be me and the guys sitting in the bleachers somewhere with like trying to, finagle a laptop. We were actually in the press box, which was really cool because I'd never been in that press box. And I was impressed by the layout and whatnot. So it was really cool. If you do want to watch it sometime, the link is on our Twitter page and on our Facebook. So just kind of scroll down and find the Florida Broadcasting. They've got a YouTube channel that it's been uploaded to as well, floridabroadcasting.com, and it's the game. Now, the camera work, it's one guy doing the camera, and I don't think he was a sports fan. You're really just listening to us because it gets a little shaky with the camera work, but he was a nice guy. I just don't think he was much of a sports fan. He didn't know what to focus on. But anyways, yeah, every time that we take time off, it seems like when we come back, we have all kinds of technical difficulties. But that's okay. We'll be here on Fridays, and we'll get the kinks worked out. Does this make Cleveland the favorite in the division if there's no suspension? Or do you still go Cincinnati 1 and Baltimore 2?
Go Cincy 1. I'll say they contend for number 2. As of right now, without knowing the verdict on the suspension, I say Baltimore 2. But if there's no suspension, definitely puts them in the running. But I think it's going to take a lot to knock Cincinnati off. I think they're going to be at the top of this division for a little bit.
Yeah, I think well, Cleveland will be interesting because they've got a good running back core, obviously, but Landry's gone. It'll be interesting to see where he lands. And then the other thing that happened yesterday was I don't know about you, but I was absolutely in shock when I saw that Devontae Adams was traded.
And then the reports today that Aaron Rodgers knew about it going into it, I found that a little interesting as well.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have thought he would want to come back to a team. I mean, who's his receiver now? They might have to go out and get Landry. But Landry is no Devontae Adams.
No. And don't tell me that you're going to go get Julio.
You can't have him.
Yeah.
He has seen better days.
Yeah. That one was a shock. I did not know that the team was that far apart. It'll be interesting to see from Aaron what he says.
Here's an interesting thing that I had not even thought about. Devontae Adams was teammates with Derek Carr in college.
Yes.
So I hadn't even thought of that. And so that's very interesting. The other interesting thing I saw tweet, it was a reminder tweet today that I think it was Schefter that brought it up. But anyways, remember when the Texans drafted Deshaun Watson? They traded up to get him, right? The team they traded with was the Cleveland Browns. So the whole thing comes full circle now. So that's pretty interesting in itself. And they believe, and I'm seeing now here that there's another update, and this one's actually from a credible source. The Braves are in talks with Jorge Soler. And this morning they were talking about the Braves were competing with the Padres, but the Padres made that trade with Luke Voit. Made for Luke Voit. I don't know if you caught that or not, but they drafted Luke Voit. Made the trade for Luke Voit from the Yankees, bringing him over. So that's essentially, they don't really need Jorge Soler now. So now it looks like that they're competing with Jorge Soler with a few other teams, but it sounds like the Braves, if you bring the band back together and the only guy you're missing is Freddie, and you got a younger version of him.
And you add Acuna and Soroka.
And you add Colin McHugh, which I think that signing is going to go under everyone's radar because no one cares about bullpen arms, especially when they're not a closer. But that guy has had the best numbers for a right-hander coming out of the bullpen since 2018. Do you know who his number one?
If you say Luke Jackson, I'm just getting off the show right now.
Kirby Yates. And for people who may have forgotten, because it's been a while, the Braves signed Kirby Yates back in November. They're hoping he'll be ready around the All-Star break. So, I mean, you're talking about
right there.
That's going to be a hell of a bullpen. And I do believe Will Smith got whatever he had off his, I don't know if it was a monkey on his back or whatever was between his ears from April to June. It's gone. Same thing with Minter. They just won the World Series, and let's not forget old nutsack Matzik. My favorite Twitter follow, by the way. He's not even close. But have we had the discussion about what he did to LeBron James on Twitter?
No, and I'm not on it, so this is news to me. I mean, is it at least as good as Peter Moylan back in the day when Moylan found the Twitter world? I don't know if you ever
Matzik is better.
Okay.
And like Matzik, I'll say I'd almost give him the crown. Now, a lot of it's because I'm a Braves fan, but he's funny, man. He's genuinely funny. I would have never expected it from him. He doesn't seem like he talks much or whatever, but he's genuinely funny. In fact, his wife made a comment to him that he tweeted out a few days ago that he said, considering your nickname, because his nickname is Nutsack because it's Matzik, and I guess that's what they call him, because you know how guys are. She said, considering your nickname, it's kind of a shame that you don't wear the number 69. And he said his reply to her was, and this is why I married you. But he did. This was right after the Rams won the Super Bowl. And LeBron James tweeted out tagging the Rams, the Lakers, and the Dodgers. And he said, now that fans can get back out in LA, we should all have one big parade together to celebrate all three of the championships. And he said, in LA, it'll be lit or something like that. And Matzik quote tweeted it, tagging them all in, and said, sorry, they don't give parades for bubble ships. Referring to the Dodgers. The Dodgers, I mean, really poking at the Dodgers. And then, of course, LeBron and the Lakers. And then he said something to the effect of, and
that was the real parade in Atlanta game.
Well, I'm sorry, do what?
That should have been Justin Turner quarantine game, correct? Remember?
Well, yeah, that too. But they won it in a bubble, and the Lakers won theirs in a bubble. And then he ended up continuing saying something to the effect of, and a real parade was thrown in Atlanta, and he named a couple of rappers. I don't know who they are, but I know it's like I've heard of them, but I can't tell you who they were. They're from the Atlanta area. And he said, and it was pretty lit itself, but everyone just died on Twitter that day. It's like, oh my God, he's going after LeBron. It's like, he does not care, man. He does not care. That's going to be an interesting when we play the Dodgers, especially when they come to Atlanta. Matzik versus Freddie. I'm going to get my popcorn ready for that one. But anyways, back to
not looking forward to that short right field porch anymore.
No. And he's gonna deal with a real. Now, it's not like you're in New York or Boston, but he's gonna deal with real sports writers, meaning Atlanta sports writers, very talented, but they're very docile and they're very supportive of you, right? That is not the case in LA. If you go if he goes out and goes 2 for 50 to start the season out, they're going to be killing him in LA because they don't remember him. All they know is what he's done for them, right? Same token, I do worry about Olsen putting too much pressure on himself at the beginning to try to be Freddie Freeman. But
I think both of them being home per se should calm and relax them, maybe make it a little bit less on edge. But the Freddie situation, not only is the media going to be more critical of him, especially because we've seen long streaks throughout his career that they come and they go, and usually when we need him in the clutch, he's there. But there have been some ups and downs. Is what happens when the fan base starts getting rabid, because that's not what you have in Atlanta. You don't have the heckling, you won't have the booing, but LA, they see enough of it, they will. And it will be interesting to see how he takes that.
Oh, I'll tell you something else that he's going to have to get used to as well, is he's going to have a real rivalry, because when they play the Giants, that ain't no joke, man. Like, the Braves have rivalries, and we hate the Mets and we hate the Phillies, but we're so far away from them. I don't really still look at it as a true baseball rivalry, just in the sense that a Braves fan walking around doesn't run into a lot of Phillies fans, right? But man, you're in California and you wear your Dodger gear, you're going to hear it just and vice versa, right? It's kind of like if you're it's kind of like being traded to the University of Alabama and go, what's this Auburn game that everyone keeps talking about? Is that a big deal?
I demand we join the NL Central so we can have real enemies.
I demand we join the AL Central. That thing's going to be trash this year. If we can't join the AL Central, can we at least join the NFC Central? Or no, I'm sorry, NFC North. They might have Aaron Rodgers. They don't have anything else. I mean, the Vikings to me becomes the favorite to win that division now. That is,
I haven't really thought it out, but I'm going to lean that way with you.
March Madness. I've already torn up my bracket, set it on fire, and just gave it a Viking funeral last night. I mean, it is just absolutely nonsense what is going on. And look, I was talking to a guy last night and I said, one of the problems with the March Madness is that, okay, first of all, who has time to watch all 311 teams that play in Division I basketball, right? And so unless you're someone like Jay Billis, who is paid to pay attention to every single team, and at that point, you literally just block off everything else. Like, to become a quote unquote college basketball expert, you have to almost clear your brain of anything football and baseball related, basketball, hockey. You have to just give it up, go whatever. But it's also like basketball, especially college basketball, one game. It's all about the matchups. And I don't have a damn clue how Virginia Tech and Texas are going to match up against each other until they play each other. And then you go, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Right now, Texas blowing the doors off of Virginia Tech. They're up by 16. I would have thought that Virginia Tech would have had a real puncher's chance of winning that game. Miami knocked off USC this afternoon. I thought USC was a pretty good team. Now, it's not that Miami's terrible, but I thought USC was a pretty good team, could go pretty far, and shows how much I know.
Any other big seeds fall today? I have not seen the
the Alabama. I had it on somewhere, but I think I turned it off when all this came on. Alabama. Let me just. I've got the scoreboard. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Notre Dame pounded Alabama, which is a little bit of a surprise. Villanova won very easily. Auburn ended up cruising. They struggled in the first half, but they ended up cruising to victory. Purdue drilled Yale. Texas Tech. I mean, it's been kind of a boring. The only good game all day was the Miami 2-point victory over Southern Cal. It came down to free throws with 3 seconds left. It was a tie game. And I thought Loyola of Chicago would give Ohio State a game. That was the dullest game in the first half. I think it was 23-18 or something like that. I mean, it was bad. I'm hoping we get a much better night slate, but I'm really just looking forward to tomorrow, because honestly, none of these matchups really interest me. I mean, Michigan State Davidson ought to be good. Curious about UAB Houston. they put a lot of the. I was talking about this last time. I was like, I'm surprised that USC Miami wasn't later in the day, because you have Los Angeles, you have Miami. Those are two pretty damn big cities, two of the bigger cities in America, and it was 3:00 in the afternoon, which was what, noon local time over in Los Angeles. But the games tonight, I don't know. I'm gonna watch it, but I'll probably gonna have it on mute on a different and watch a movie or something with the wife. But I mean, I'm looking more forward to this weekend. The Vols play tomorrow, right? What, any idea? 5:15 Eastern. So that's good. It's later in the day because I want to get some stuff done. If they play at like noon, man, I'm gonna be like sloshed by 3. It's like, doesn't do anybody any good. Vols, Michigan. That should be a fun one.
I think it will be. It's going to be interesting to see if they can carry their momentum and actually repeat that offensive performance they had in game one, because that's what we're not accustomed to seeing out of Volunteers. Come back out after a hot night and duplicate it.
I think Tennessee has the ability to go on a run, and I'm talking about Final Four, maybe beyond, because I think they've got a favorable bracket. I'm not going to say easy, because no bracket's easy. I mean, hell, who the hell knew St. Peter's could knock off Kentucky? But I like their matchups. I'm actually a little surprised that Michigan won their game, because they played so poorly ever since. Actually, it was even before the Jawan Howard fisticuffs, and they blew up their opponent the first game. But I'm interested to see this game, because I think Tennessee, they're a 6-point favorite right now. I might have to be dialing in on that.
Well, I mean, why don't you just go ahead and jinx it for all of us?
Well, yeah.
I mean, thanks, there, bud. Appreciate it.
Well, all right. My bad.
I'd go all in on the Seminoles, but
I've got nothing else to pull for. Tennessee's got to do it, man. I don't even know if Florida State went to the NIT. I totally checked out of that. I know they technically would have, but I have no idea. I haven't seen one NIT. So I keep getting tricked though. Why the hell did they start doing this? They started putting women's college basketball tournament on the same time as the men's today. And I kept going to the channel and saying, ooh, forget who it was. But I was like, I didn't know they were playing right now. And I flipped over and I go, that's the women's team. And I get the hell out of here. And the way everybody's hair is nowadays, I'm going to really sound like an old man. The way everyone's hair is nowadays, it takes me like a couple of minutes to figure out if I'm watching the men's or women's.
The St. Peter's, I'm not even at that, and really should have thought about my intro before. I walked right into that one. But talking about Kentucky not being prepared for handling that matchup, well, they better be prepared, because there's 4 coaching spots open in the SEC, and you may have just met one of the candidates.
They're saying that Florida's going after the San Francisco coach. I don't know his name, but the San Francisco basketball coach. They showed a picture of him. I mean, he is young.
Where did their coach do the swap-a-roo to?
He left to go to Georgia.
That's what I thought.
Which
but I
did them a favor, because he has sucked at Florida.
And then to go to the rival, I was like, well,
he's just resetting the clock. Yeah, he's resetting the clock. He knew there's a good chance he was either getting fired or getting fired next year, right? And he's just resetting the clock. He's like, yeah, screw it. I'll go to Georgia. We're not going to be worth a damn, but they won't figure that out for 3 years.
They've got Kirby.
Yeah. This kid that they're talking about bringing in from San Francisco, man, I mean, he is young. I don't even know. I mean, he's like fake ID young. They showed him on the screen. I was like, that's a basketball coach. I was like, damn, he actually took his team to the NCAA tournament. He could literally be the great grandson of Florida State's basketball coach.
The head coach of San Francisco University that played Murray State last night is the candidate in the running for Florida.
Right. Right.
Man,
Yeah,
coached
that's
a real good team because Murray State's got a good basketball program. They hung in there and took them to the wire. I believe we went to overtime. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2, but it was a late night when I went to bed last night. It was after midnight. So
I watched it. I'm like you. I remember it being a good game. That's about all I remember.
yeah, it was in and out, but it was a good game at the end, and I was kind of pulling for San Francisco there, but did not realize that's who it was.
It's like the guy that I was doing the play-by-play with yesterday. He was asking me if I was going to partake in anything. This is during the game, but he said, "Are you going to partake in any of the St. Patty's festivities?" I looked at him and said, "Last name's McGee," and he just started laughing. I said, "You do the math." I'm like, even if I had to do it by myself, which I did, we met some friends out for the early games, and then we came home. Wife was tired, so I stayed up with the dog, and we just sat there and watched college basketball. And I couldn't help it, man. I put one of them on one of the devices on the the Cubs White Sox, and there was I think Twins Red Sox or something. I wasn't really paying attention, but it's to me, it's always good to watch, to just see spring training baseball. It's like, spring's coming, the summer's coming. Byron Buxton got a single to lead off the game and did not get hurt. So that's, good news for the Twins. We're going to have to start getting out of here in a second. The one belly up, the only one that we'll be able to get to today. I do want to get your opinion on this because there is some groundswell that looks like that the Ghost Runner may not be dead for this year. The original reports were there's a good chance it's coming back next year, but this year it's a dead topic. Now they're saying that they're talking with GMs and managers and et cetera, and getting their take on it. And a lot of them are for it because with this crunched spring training that we have, they're worried about you're worried about your team going into extra innings 3 times in 1 week to start the season, and it just drags out and you're blowing arms out left and right. Are you against the Ghost Runner? Are you okay with it? Do you not care? Like, I'm always curious because I see people and I can never predict what side someone's on, that I see these takes on Twitter and whatnot, that some people are very strongly feel one way or the other. And then others you think we're going to have an opinion because I don't even care. It doesn't matter to me. So where are you on that Ghost Runner and extra innings?
It depends on if my team's at home or on the road. I feel like it's a neutralizer somewhat for the road team. I like it from a strategy standpoint because if I'm a road team and I come in and team goes aggressive in the ninth and you survive through it, they have to hold a card in their back pocket. It's the old Buck Showalter holding Zach Britton, but he didn't make it to that next opportunity to use him. So, does that GM put his guy out in the bottom of the ninth and go, or does he save something because he feels he can get to it, and he needs to hold off a Ghost Runner in the bottom of the ninth. So both sides have to think about that strategy. And when you've got a runner on second, base hit's all it takes.
I like it a lot, and I did not think I would. When I first heard about this, I think it was 3 years ago they were doing this in the minors. I thought it was a clown show. I watched it, tried to watch it with an open mind, and I think it's a phenomenal idea. And I would never want to see it in the playoffs. That would be absolute garbage. But regular season, 162 games, man, I'm not for wrecking someone's bullpen on an 18 inning marathon because for whatever reason, the teams are having a hard time winning the game. You had 9 innings to get this figured out. Let's go ahead and let's move it forward. There's some people that are saying, we'll start it in the 11th, start it in the 12th. What the hell is the difference? Just start it when you go to extra innings, because it's not like one team or the other has an unfair advantage. It's not like the NFL overtime rule, right? It's not like you lose the coin toss and you're like, oh, well, I'm screwed now.
Yeah, they're both getting the same opportunity.
Yeah. And now I do say this, what you have to clean up is let's quit giving guys losses and giving them earned runs when they inherit a ghost runner. That's garbage. Blown saves, that's garbage.
I'll give you on the runners. I got to think about the saves.
Well, the blown save thing is, or the loss is difficult because let's say you induce 3 ground balls, they all go first for an out, but you give up a run and you get tagged with that run and you get tagged with that loss. I think they need to come up with a different statistic that just calls it an extra innings loss, because you're not going by the same rules that everyone's going by.
The universal DH, I think, kind of puts it in there and makes it a little bit more favorable, I think, for me as well, because I don't have to worry about coming up to the non-slot in a National League team with it anymore. And you would say, oh, well, you would pinch hit. Well, what happens late in the game? Or if you're in the second, or say you get to the 10th or excuse me, the 11th or 12th, and you don't have a position player. You don't have a bat. So your pitcher is hitting, or you've got to put one of your pitchers that can hit out there. And then we always go to, why would you expose a pitcher to be in the batter's box? Man, it's going to provide a lot of entertainment this year. And I think we're going to see a lot of excitement late in games, and we're going to see some trickery, and we're going to see some mistakes, and they're going to be really magnified just because of that pressure of the runner.
Yeah.
Is the 7-inning rule coming back with the double headers, or did it just
They said no. I was actually surprised by that. Yeah, I was surprised by that. I don't hate the 7-inning doubleheader, because once again, you're now the one thing that it does eliminate, you don't get that asterisk no hitter that Madison Bumgarner threw last year, right? Was that last year or was that the year before? Maybe that was the year before. But
2020 and 2021 are merged together.
I know it's
Braves World Series, it's completely different.
But they've gotten rid of that, because the reason why they got rid of it, and it may come back one day, but when they had to schedule those 6 games and put them in weird spots, they're given certain dates like day night double headers, and they're going to charge full price for each admission, and they're probably going to, like, one starts at noon and one starts at 7. So that's why they're doing that, because they didn't want to do 7 innings, and then the customer complains, what the hell, dude? I'm paying full price, but I have to only get 7 innings. So I don't know if it's gone for good, but it's gone for this year. And the shift, they're expecting it to be approved for next year. In theory, they could get it approved, and they have 45 days to implement it. So you could see it later in this season, but I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't want to see Major League Baseball police the shift. I want to see hitters start policing the shift.
Yeah, but you can't, because I'm telling you, it's not as easy as people think it is to be able to go the opposite direction when a guy's throwing a 98-mile-an-hour cutter and it's killing the game. All the other sports, hockey, basketball, football, they all have changed the rules over time to address the situation at hand. And baseball did it in the 60s when they lowered the mound. But the way it's, and I don't want it to be ridiculous. I just want them to be able to say, you can't have 2 dudes on this side of the bag. I mean, you can't have more than 2 dudes on this side of the bag, and you can't have more than 2 on that side of the bag. That's all.
Are you going to keep them in the dirt?
Yes. The infielders should be in the dirt.
You must have infielders in the dirt.
Well,
out
of the outfield.
Okay.
If you want to cheat to come in on a bunt, that's different. But yeah, I mean, correct. I just feel like Austin Riley playing shallow right field isn't what I want to pay to watch. I want to see Austin Riley pick it at third. I want to see Dansby Swanson make a diving play and gun someone over, like the old Andrelton Simmons. We've lost that because of the shift. Because now what happens? They either hit it into the teeth of the defense, and it's an easy defensive play. They swing and miss for a strikeout. It goes for a home run, or if they do dribble it down the other way, that's a boring play. I want to see the defensive play because they've taken it away. And I never thought I was going to be against it, but as I've watched it, I'm like, man, you just got to evolve, and you have to realize all these little things they're doing with the computers and everything. You got to kind of legislate them is what you're really doing. Your hand cut. You're not really doing anything to the hitters and batters per se. You're telling the MIT dork to quit changing the game of baseball. It's just like if basketball all of a sudden got rid of the key and they could just camp out in the lane and just sit there and just, pick up rebounds left and right. It's just, I don't know. I get everyone's argument against it, but I want to see baseball back to what it was. Great defense. We don't see web gems anymore. They got rid of it on ESPN because it doesn't happen. I mean, a guy's got to like climb the wall.
You've lost infield range.
Yeah.
You don't get to see it anymore. Very, very seldom. And if you do, it's usually.
I want to see Ozuna play shortstop because you're like, man, might as well. He's kind of our, you know what I mean? I want to see.
Ozuna
I want to see
should be the platoon guy. He should be the guy you shift because he can't run to catch anything. He needs to be hit right at him. So just put him out there and shallow outfield so he can just catch spot flies. Exactly.
All right, let's go ahead and do this real quick, and we'll get the heck on out of here. We've kind of ran over. It's my fault. On this date, on this date in 1985, Peter Ueberroth reinstates Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays back into Major League Baseball. Why were they kicked out? Because they were known gamblers in Vegas. Not on baseball, but they were known gamblers. And they brought them back. And this is one of the things that people point to when they say, it's been long enough, put Pete Rose back into baseball. Birthdays. We got here on the birthdays. Remember Bonnie Blair? American speed skater? Won the gold in 82, 92, and 94. I did not realize it had been that long ago. My God. Bonnie Blair is 58 years old. That makes me feel old, man. I actually thought she was younger than me for some reason. I guess because she could do things that I never could do. Brian Greasy, once Monday Night Football guy. Not no more, buddy. Brian Greasy is 47 years old. And that's good enough. By the way, one of the ones that I wanted to get to that we just didn't get to, do you like the move to Monday Night Football for Aikman and Joe Buck?
Not opposed to it.
It
doesn't bother. Sorry,
do you think that stepped on the toes of the Manning cast? Do you think that they might be upset about that?
I thought that would be the solution. That's where this would go. So I was a little surprised by it. But, hey, you got to go with your bread and butter. You shift them around. You know that's a product that has worked. And you put that in your main spot. Because what we know hasn't worked is experiments on Monday Night Football. So we know we're going to have a good product. And that is what Monday Night Football needed. So I would have liked to send the Mannings, but maybe they get to fill in and get a primetime slot on the weekend. And it's worked too.
I like it because Monday Night Football has not felt like a big game in years, and this is going to make it feel like a big game. Like them or love them or hate them, personally, Aikman and Buck are good at what they do.
They're good together.
And the other thing today, what's your walk-off for the day?
Nah, I'm a man. I'm 40. You don't like it, or you're younger. Piss off.
My walk-off for the day, if y'all have not seen this, you can find it anywhere on social media. Check out what ESPN did this afternoon during one of their women's college basketball game. I can't tell you who it was. All I know is I saw that the score was 40-4. at the half, and this is when they did it. They asked for a moment of silence. It's to stand in solidarity for Disney employees that are, and of course, ESPN's Disney employees as well, but that are upset about the bill legislation in Florida to not speak of gender equality, homosexuality, or sexual orientation in anyone third grade or younger. And the far left wing, they are blowing it out of proportion. They're calling it the Don't Say Gay Act, but there's nothing in there that says that. It's basically saying these kids are 9 years old and younger. There's no need to talk to them about these things. That's essentially what it is. And they had a moment of silence on ESPN today. And of course, my crack was, man, the score was 40-4. It wasn't very loud to begin with. I mean, only women's basketball, the score be 40-4. God, can you imagine if you were the parents of the team scored 4 points in the first thing? Like, what the hell did I take off work for? I came to see this.
I like Van Gundy's response to that. Do you have any idea when, off the top of your head, how long that's been that I've been saving that? How many years have I been waiting to drop the "I'm a man now, I'm 40"?
Oh, I bet.
Do you have any recollection? It's been a long time.
Well, when did he first say it?
I can't remember. I'm hoping it brought something to your head. And
when did we start the show? We're just now. Yeah, so we're beginning our 9th season on Armchair Quarterbacks. So I'd say you've been waiting 9 years to say it.
Well, you finally got to do it, buddy.
Well, you look good, my friend. I know you said that you've lost quite a bit of LBs. Are y'all going to be able to make it to the Atlanta game?
It is up in the air, but work is probably not going to allow me the time off to travel. But
gotcha.
I'll get with you and let you know. It's going to be a last-minute decision if we get the time to get down there.
Understood. Well, we hope you make it there. We are excited. We can't wait. They've got a cool thing that I'll talk about it next week, but we bought some kind of brick that they're going to put up in the Champions Walk or whatever. I'll talk about it next week.
At Luke Jackson if I don't get to make it, okay?
I'll get you a Luke Jackson jersey. Yeah. How the hell is he still a Brave? That's what I want to know. He's going to be starting. If we don't go out there and get a pitcher, he's going to be our opener. If
you would have paid Freddie and got Olsen, we wouldn't have money for Luke Jackson. I mean, God bless you. Got to think of this out.
You got to lock up Luke Jackson long term. You can't bring Freddie back too. I mean, you got to make decisions. Later, my friend.
I swear. See you, bud.
It's Friday, working stiffs. Everybody!
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy weekend!
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette, please.